Case investing might be doomed, and here's why. For many years, Counterstrike cases have been seen as a solid investment, with many people turning huge profits by simply holding a huge quantity over a long period of time. But those glorious days have recently struggled and are possibly about to be lost forever. The idea is simple. Once a week, every player with Prime status gets one case from an in-game drop as part of a leveling reward. The case they get is random and chosen from one of two drop pools. The active drop pool contains the latest few editions of collections, whilst the rare drop pool hosts most of the older collections. The rare drop pool, as the name suggests, only features a 1% chance of containing a weekly drop, and whenever a new case is added to the game, one of the older members of the active drop pool ends their service and is moved to the rare drop pool. Over time, the supply of a case will decrease as the chances of new entities being created are low, whilst many people are opening the remaining supply in hopes of opening rare knife and skin finishes, ultimately increasing the price of the remaining stockpile of cases. At least that's how it has always been. But over time, many new challenges have hit this specific market, which I would like to talk about today. And the very first and probably most obvious challenge is that Counter-Strike has been attracting ever more players over the last few years. Whilst unboxing numbers haven't really seen huge positive trends unless hype periods happen. An increased number of players means that more people are getting a weekly case drop, ultimately increasing supplies. The combination of those two factors means that it takes a lot longer for price developments to happen, as we are dealing with a way larger supply than beforehand, with similar or only slightly higher demand. This is only fueled by countless bot farms. With people realizing the value cases hold, many people have resorted to programming and hosting dedicated bot farms that run thousands of accounts simultaneously, collecting weekly case drops. But definitely even more impactful and especially harming factor is the simple fact that Valve has been slowing down the release of new case collections, with less cases being added to the game and the period between releases increasing each time. Cases remain in the active drop pool for longer than ever. So to review that, we're dealing with a higher number of players, having a much longer time to accumulate supplies of one specific case, whilst unboxing numbers have stayed steady. Some cases are estimated to host a supply of several 100 million units. But before we talk about the final nail in the coffin, I would like to take a moment to thank everyone for the positive feedback on my first two videos. And as a way to show my appreciation, give away the stat track M4A4 Temukau, worth around 25 euros. And all I need from you is a comment containing your Discord ID to get into contact with you in case you end up winning. Judging by all the factors mentioned previously, one can assume that the case investing might be in a pretty bad state, but it may be even worse than we think. Because with the introduction of the armory, Valve added a new in-game store that hosts newly added cases that aren't actually part of any drop pool. And with the addition of the Fever case to said in-game store, we got the confirmation that Valve is interested in keeping this store updated. For case investors, this most likely means that Valve will move on from adding new cases into the active drop pool and actually focus on keeping an interesting armory store. This way, Valve does not only profit from the sale of keys, market transactions surrounding the cases and its contents, but also from selling the case in the first place. Overall, this seems like a huge money grab and opportunity that Valve wouldn't waste. And the short period we had with the armory so far practically proves this. The only way we could remain slightly hopeful is if Valve decides to add cases removed from the armory into the active drop pool. But even then it would have been more than a year from the release to the degradation into the drop pool. Plenty of time for any case still remaining in it to accumulate massive supplies and take many years to ever see huge increases in price. Possibly even worse, just as I had finished the script and started editing this video, Valve pushed yet another update surrounding a newly added Genesis collection. You can now get Genesis terminals in the weekly drop, where you will be presented with 5 offers on skins to buy directly from some sort of arms dealer. Most community speculations mention that this is some way for Valve to get around regulations surrounding gambling bans in video games. This would mean an even more extreme shift in Valve's approach, and where we don't yet know how this will impact case prices, we're at least finally seeing some change in the active drop pool. However, the fracture case it had replaced has been in the active drop pool since 2020 and collected a huge supply on markets and in inventories. I still think that a few select cases could see a prominent future. I personally own 1000 snakebite cases, which I had acquired at around 20 cents a unit, and even picked up a handful of revolution and fracture cases not long ago. Specifically, I suggest looking for unique knife or glove finishes not found in many actively dropping cases. For example, the Revolution case contains some of the rarest and most sought after glove variants, mainly the vice gloves, which are only found in the Revolution and Clutch case. The glove will always remain favorable and expensive, and the Clutch case has been moved to the rare drop pool already, with the Revolution case possibly following soon. But if you do decide to invest into this specific sector of Counter-Strike items, you should be aware that the glorious days of case investments are long gone, and you shouldn't expect huge returns, especially not on any short-term holds. After all, only time will tell what path Valve may actually choose. So spend your money wisely and never invest what you can't afford to lose. That's it for today. I hope you got a good understanding of my personal view, and I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. Later.